Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
Looks
hello.
like we are live. Hey,
I
Jason.
think, hey, Sebastian, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. It's been an amazing day.
It has. There's already been a lot of action in the blockchain gaming world with the demo that was done with the Blockchain Game Alliance that you put on. So big thanks to you, as Game Credits had a chance there to showcase some of our stuff. And I think today you and I can do a little bit of showcasing on what we think as founders the future of gaming looks like. And I think that's going to be a very interesting conversation because there's a number of different areas that I think are going to play a pivotal role in the next 10 years in the gaming space.
Absolutely, yes.
So one of the areas that I know is near and dear to your heart and my heart in the gaming space, and it's becoming a bigger topic literally every single week, is the concept of metaverses. And that's one of the areas that I wanted to talk about because not only is it impacting our careers in a big way, but it's slowly but surely going to start to impact the lives of a lot of other people in ways that they probably didn't even understand the metaverse would. So I think that's a really good topic to start on. And we're well post to have a conversation with that. So perhaps you could give a little bit of introduction to what your kind of claim to fame in the space is and give your perspective on the metaverses and where you think that's going to be taking gaming in the future.
All right, let's start. My name is Sebastien Borget. I'm the COO and co-founder of the Sandbox. The Sandbox is actually a gaming virtual world on the Ethereum blockchain where players and creators can make 3D assets and 3D games and monetize them through the use of blockchain technology, including NFTs, non-fungible tokens, as well as our main utility token, Sand. So we're contributing to build an open metaverse where all the players and creators have actually the true digital ownership of the content they make and the content they earn through playing, and are able to start trade, exchange, and monetize the content they create or earn through the play without the need to ask for the permission of the developer or the platform. It's totally permissionless thanks to the use of this technology called blockchain. That and so we're essentially building something that's contributing to the open metaverse as opposed to more like just closed metaverse, like closed walled garden, centralized platforms, centralized games that are on the opposite, really operating in a way where the developer of the platform or the platform itself are really trying to control all the possibilities, all the action of the user and locking the user within their platform, not enabling like the free trade of virtual goods, of digital asset, the possibilities of users to take their identity, to take their assets in and out of the platform and participate into an economy of trading those goods, trading the creation they make, and so like build up pieces that all together form this giant combination of multitude of virtual worlds that are, in my opinion, all part of the concept of metaverse. So that's it's already I'm jumping into the topic. It looks like, but just for my background, maybe going back to my introduction. I've been a co-founder in the space now for already started in 2007. So all right, 13 years co-founding four companies. The three other one have been acquired. Started in the space of peer-to-peer technology, one of the very first application of decentralized technology, enabling users to download faster video on demand content on video on demand website and catch up TVs, and allowing content providers to save on their bandwidth costs through that, enabling hence like the growth of like video on demand in a general manner. Sold that company 2 years later to a CDN network, then started a company where users could upload their photos, video, and music in the cloud, and then share their library with friends, building playlists, etc. Um, was a great success, had thousands of subscribers paying for the monthly access, even before Netflix, Spotify, and the other exist, and sold that business a couple of years after as well. And in 2011, I jumped into gaming, mobile gaming, essentially with free to play right from the start. with a game studio called Pixel that's been acquired in 2018 by Animoca Brands, another larger gaming company based out of Hong Kong and one of the pioneers in blockchain games as well. And as part of Pixel, we had really um, that goal, that ambition, that we wanted to turn players into creators. So all the game we did had really two strong features. One is like they involved IPs and characters. So right from the beginning, we worked with IPs like Garfield, Snoopy, then Goosebumps, then the Addams Family, typically. Those games are live and they allow players to create their own towns, live adventures and story, and participate in a series of events over years. So this game have had millions of install and uh, have been going for like close to 5 years now and are still very popular and growing. And on the other side, we also had our own successful franchise called the Sandbox, which we started in 2012 as a 2D mobile game on iOS and Android. It has had over 40 million installs in total, that series, and essentially it's a game that turns players into creators, letting them play with like pixelated elements like water, sand, stone, and then we introduce beyond physics, we introduce like ton of gaming, like characters, platform, enemies, decoration, you name it, and all creators could share their levels essentially. So you can think of it like as a sort of a Mario Maker like type of game, but in 2D in pixel art that enables you to share your creation in an online gallery. So it's strongly user-generated content driven type of game. We had over 70 million players made creation in that online gallery, and well, it's been really a success in that sense. And at the same time, we had that frustration that the game is a success, so we are happy as a developer. We have a lot of active users, over 1 million monthly active users, a lot of great content made by this community of users playing the game, and no way, literally no way, to reward the users for all the content that they contributed to the platform and that made overall the success of the platform. So we felt like, in a way, it's quite unfair. And we are seeing that still today when we look at Minecraft and Roblox. Even though some developers can monetize a little bit of their work, it's still very limited to how the platform defines the monetization can be made, the exchange rate of the currency, and few other factors that essentially are not really rewarding in a fair way and enabling creators to actually uh, really feel they are in ownership of the content they made on the platform that they use. So typically, when you play Minecraft, you make a world. It's not really yours. You cannot take it out of Minecraft. You cannot really trade it with another users. And it's been um, so that's really where we started to identify this problem, and we've been looking for solutions. And that came towards the end of 2017. At the end of 2017, we saw also as I got more and more interested into blockchain technology in general, Bitcoin, of course, etc. at the time. But then I saw appearing CryptoKitties, one of the very first, if not the
Mhm.
first, NFT-based game, and we saw like, wow, it's great. Like people can own virtual cats and play with them, trade them in a permissionless manner, um, and even build things using those cats. So it's an interesting, but well, it's just cats. So like, what if I don't like those cats, or what else? And then, but look, we have an amazing community of creators. So just let's apply a technology, NFTs, to the content made by the creators and just allow anyone to turn what they make into NFT. So they can just literally start exchanging it with other users, putting it on marketplaces, trading, or using those the content they made turn into NFT across multiple games and platforms. And that's really how was born the idea of let's make a new version of Sandbox, this time 3D, this time multiplayer, multi-platform, and that use this technology, which we strongly believe is going to disrupt the future of gaming, virtual world, and metaverses. So that's essentially one of the key things that I've been doing since 2017. So it's been now 3 years. We are pioneers in the space of blockchain gaming and non-fungible tokens in gaming, and we're promoting or evangelizing, I would say, this vision where all the content should be owned by the players and the creators. And we are really happy to see that we have been able to not just ourselves, but there's a great community of developers that's growing by the day by day. There's a great community of users that now are more familiar with the technology and using it on a regular basis, that have already, for some of them, enjoyed the benefit of the technology, started to monetize their time as players, start to monetize their effort as creators. And it's quite exciting to see the acceleration that we've been seeing in 2020 in the space. And I'm really actually really bullish on what's coming in 2021 in terms of growth, because we were like, it took time to build a great game experience. It really takes time to just build a great game in general. And now that those great games are finally hitting market, players can use them, creators can use various NFT making platforms to create their content and start exchanging it. And there's more adoption and awareness from the general public about buying those, using those. And all the key ingredients are now here for this, I would say, revolution in space of gaming, but not only gaming, that as NFT touch a lot of other possible spaces as well, to boil down and blow in 2021 and after.
And that's a good segue, Sebastien, into my story, because I was introduced to Youth of the Sandbox, and I've been captivated by this world that you're starting to build. So my name is Jason Cassidy, and I am the owner and CEO of Game Credits, and we are the first gaming blockchain and cryptocurrency in history. We were launched back all the way in February of 2014, and our focus is on the world of esports and NFTs, and we focus on merging the traditional gaming world with the blockchain space, which is why the metaverses and NFTs are so important to what we do. And to give the audience a little bit of background, NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens, and they're the other side of cryptocurrency. So with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin, all these other currencies, those are fungible, as in fungibility, they have a likeness and they're interchangeable. Non-fungible tokens are everything else that has a unique aspect to it. There's a lot of collectability to this. And this has spurred on a whole industry. And this is where Sebastien and myself, I think we've really got a foothold in the cryptocurrency and the blockchain space, because now it's really boosting the gaming world. And that's where I've really found my niche. I got into the space back in 2012, and I've done a number of different projects working with different currencies on exchange projects, etc. But it wasn't until around 2018 that I saw NFTs, Sebastien, that I started to feel like, okay, now cryptocurrency and blockchain is getting really interesting, because now it's going back to when I was young. It's getting back to that feeling of the collectability aspect. There's all these new opportunities with the technologies that NFTs bring. There's a plethora of innovation happening now, and it's exciting for myself, because being in the NFT space in 2020 feels like what it was like being involved in Bitcoin back in 2012 and 2013. It's very early on. There's so much opportunity out there. So let's talk about the NFTs aspect, because that has a huge impact into what the value proposition of what the sandbox brings. And at Game Credits, a lot of what we do on our platform, which is built on Ethereum, is we have tools that support non-fungible tokens. In fact, we just debuted at the BGA earlier today. We had a demo of our Game Foundry, which is an NFT creator tool, which means you can create just about any digital collectible that you want. And that's something that we offer at the Game Credits platform. So in the ethos of, as you mentioned, player empowerment, it looks like the future is going to be with the content creators and empowering the players and developers to come in and build rich experiences in these metaverses and having the ability to own your own assets in game. I think that's a really big plus. I know as a fan myself, as a player of games, Sebastien, I've put in lots of money into games in the past, and that money for the most part was a sunk cost. I couldn't get that money back out. So I made that investment knowing that it was probably going to be there and I couldn't get that out. So one thing I'm noticing with the NFT revolution that's taking place right now is, as these exchanges are getting launched, players, I think, are finding more comfortability investing into a game, because now they have the confidence and the insurance. They can actually pull some of that money back out of that game and transfer that value across different games potentially. And I think that's a huge empowerment for players that they never had before.
Absolutely, I'm all in here with you. So the first point you mentioned is like we are still feeling like it's the early days, like at the beginning of Bitcoin, but still, as we've been over 3 years in the space, we already seeing like the natural evolution. We started with collectibility, which I think is a great element. Like we all are collectors. Like I started collecting millions of things, like Pokemon cards, Magic cards, Pogs. Marvels, whatever, Panini cards, stickers, etc. I still have like all my boxes, and now it's my kids playing with them. So, well, I'm even passing them generation to generation. It's quite interesting, and that's really how CryptoKitties spawn out. Like collect cats, like you could play with them a little bit, but it was not so clear yet what was the kind of gameplay. It was more like Tamagotchi like, I would say, breeding, raising, but that's it. And but it's really like people wanted to have all of them, some sort of like Pokemon, like collect all of them. And uh, so there's been a lot of copycats around that concept, but quickly it was the industry, at least the gaming industry, realized that collecting was not enough. Like we need to attach something a little bit more engaging, more fun to the collectibility aspect to actually build more value on the long run. So came the idea of like what could be the utility of all those non-fungible tokens and collectible that we created. Some tried to add the gameplay on top of it in not natural ways, but like the best project I see in the space, they really incorporated in their game design the collectibility, the scarcity, and that's why, for example, I'm seeing games like Gods Unchained, trading card game, essentially, sort of like a blockchain-based version of Hearthstone, like but with the same quality of graphics, etc. Have been one of the best title in the space, obviously, because they really understood like yes, cards are valuable. You want to build your decks, you want to trade the cards between players. It's part of all the mechanics, and then you compete with other players with those cards. So that's the first step. Then we have now like virtual world Minecraft like, but not necessarily just Minecraft like. Well, gaming platform that enables you to create games using those NFT assets, and that's where Sandbox fits, like really in the UGC space and allowing not just to make NFTs that are going to sit and be beautiful but do nothing, but try to gamify them, provide the enemies, the behaviors behind that you need as you're going to create game experiences. And um, so that's I think like in 2020 2021 we are at. There's still a lot of experiments boiling down in the space, people coming with new ideas, people experimenting with even like finance. So I would say yeah, DeFi, so to simplify, like finance inspired mechanics applied to game items to grow not only the value but also to gamify how those NFTs are obtained and potentially can become more rare and accrue in value. It's really really interesting, really exciting to see all those experiments, and I'm sure like there will be some that will just like one like this become mainstream in an unexpected manner, like we saw Angry Birds in the past, or we saw all those initial mobile game success that really took down then after and enabled the larger adoption of gaming and mobile gaming by back in the 2018 2010s years. Now that's I think really part of the future, and it's great that we have this unique background in gaming because we've seen all the big picture. We've seen that uh, it was really a limitation in a way, like not being able to sell, not to be able to trade your virtual asset, your virtual goods. And I'm still getting nowadays a lot of, I would say, friction or like people wondering like why does it matter for me as a player to own my game items? Why does it matter to well, to try to be able to sell them, to monetize them. I don't really care. Like it's not an issue. Well, to those people, I like to say, like, look, it's not because you've been playing video games for 25 years, 20 years, and you've been growing in a system where anything you buy with real money is actually not yours, that it's the right thing. Like, normally, if you were in the physical world, everyone thinks like, yes, anything I buy is actually mine. I'm free to resell it. I'm free to modify it. I'm free to do a lot of things that can impact the value of that content, that can be more creative. And that's kind of like my transition to we're going to live in a world of in an economy of creator, in a world of creator, and as we spend more and more time into virtual world, into digital, on the online space, in the web, etc. All this economy of creator is we just touched the base of it. Like, I don't think like we nearly understand the extent of how, like, having a whole generation of people who've been raised thinking like, even if it's a digital asset, if I made it, it's mine, I can sell it, is going to kickstart, to ignite a real economy where anything that's digital can actually be sold, traded, and monetized, whether it's a gaming asset or any sort of digital asset. And from there, I like to think, and I've started to see a lot of literature around that. It's called like the fourth industrial revolution, where we're spending more time, more energy to produce virtual goods, but the overall economy of those virtual goods is going to outgrow the economy of the physical world. And gaming is a very natural way to start with kickstarting this virtual economy, because games is already the number one economy before movies, sounds, movie and music combined in terms of like revenue. I think it's about $160 billion a year, but I'm still think it's just, it seems it's a big number, and yet I think it's only 2 billion people playing with content that are consumable. They don't own, they don't trade, they don't monetize. So it has, in the end, very low value creation down to every users who participate in that economy. So if we were moving into an open economy where every actor in the value creation chain is actually incentivized to grow the value, and there's more trade happening between all those virtual assets, we're going to start igniting something much bigger that participate to this fourth industrial revolution, and where any virtual good, any digital asset can be minted, created, traded, reused, used in many places you don't think about, and we can have people making a living out of it. We can have like a lot of industries being built just on top of the services that will be delivered around those virtual good and virtual assets. And that's kind of like my, let's say, not, I wouldn't say my 5 or 10 years vision, but more like what's the future will look like in 20, 25 years from now, and thanks to gaming in particular.
Well said. And I have to agree. That value creation chain that you're talking about, as we see it slowly, brick by brick, being built, I get excited every day I get up, because I'm seeing new innovations, the money that's being put into the NFT space, not just gaming, like you said. There's art, there's virtual real estate, there's a number of digital assets that are starting to become their own sub-niche industry of cryptocurrency. And as more people realize that they can own their own assets and why that's important, I think you're going to see a wave of innovation that's going to leave a lot of people speechless with what's coming. And I'm excited to be part of that. And that dovetails into my final question I have. We are now living in an era with COVID-19. And no matter what you think about that, the reality is that a lot more people are spending a lot more time at home. And we know that roughly about 1 in 3 people play games of some type, no matter what it is. So there's a lot of talk about this is helping the advance of VR, and more people are playing games now because they're spending more time at home. I'm seeing a little bit of uptick that just with my friends that don't even understand cryptocurrency are spending more times in games. I'm wondering, because you're so deeply involved in the metaverse, Are you seeing the same thing that I am, that there's a little bit more interest in these type of assets and potentially in VR, even though it's not quite ready? There's more interest coming into it because of what's happening with COVID.
Well, I think like there's been already quite a number of market studies that showed like when people are locked down and closed in their home, they've been looking at other hobbies, other ways to spend time and remain entertained. It's our very nature. Like we can get bored pretty quickly, right? So we need to look for like entertainment source, whether we're reading book, whether we're watching more movies. Like Netflix has never been so much used than during COVID, and discover or play games. It has impacted the traditional gaming industry in various ways, like traditional premium and console games are more played because you get more time to do those uh, 80 hours, 100 hours kind of games that you need to complete. And it has impacted mobile gaming in another manner where like the shorter session and the kind of discovery has shifted. Now, what I think down the line, not talking specifically to the metrics here, but more like how it has the soft impact of COVID is like we have less and less mental barrier to the idea that we are going to spend more time online in virtual world uh, and having a presence in online spaces, either for working or for well doing other activities like playing game, learning, etc. Like that's really, I think that's the largest experiment in the world where over 1 billion people suddenly, rather than spending time in transportation and being like physically present, had to adapt to well being present online and interact with other online. And down the line, what it means, it means that uh, you could have a lot of people saying, I'm not spending time in those virtual world. I'm not seeing like this to be the main thing I'm going to do. To while finally, it's not that bad as an experience, or it's I'm seeing more. They're seeing themselves more and more, possibly into being present in virtual world for all the type of activities I mentioned before. And we've seen in many virtual worlds, like some of them being online decentralized, like uh, Decentraland, Somnium Space, Crypto Voxels, and now Sandbox, we've seen more activities, people joining more of those virtual events, but not only the decentralized blockchain-based virtual world. Any VR-based virtual world has also seen really an uptick of adoption. There's been a large amount of VR headset that's been purchased for people to look into like joining those virtual world and maintaining that social relation that they were missing back physically. So it's I think a great thing as it's driven the acceleration and enable more and more users to be less worried about all this potentially futuristic but scary technology to like it's going to be just very normal. I'm going to live there, I'm going to work there, I will be able to monetize the content I produce, to monetize my time there, whether I play or I work or I create or I watch content. And that's, I think, is really the true game changer that COVID, well, due to the circumstance, it was not really, it was more unexpected, but still has brought up here.
I would have to agree, my friend. So as we wrap up here, there's a final question to put out. What will the future look like by the 2021 Futures Conference? So 1 year from now, what will the world look like, the future?
Well, by 2021, Sandbox will be live in beta. We'll have a lot of amazing experience built in the virtual world. So I'm sure, I'm hoping we can see each other in rather than just interacting in video like this. We'll have all sorts of interaction. Like, yes, we can voice chat. Yes, maybe we'll have the video, but we can also play with our characters inside the virtual world. We can go on quests together, complete those quests, etc. So it'll and all the content we've put, all the effort we'll have put to develop the virtual lands that constitute that compose our metaverses will also be more valuable as we will have grown the audience, grown the content, and provided to creators a fantastic tool for making NFTs.
I like that answer, and that's a future that I can get behind, Sebastien. So I hope that prediction pans out. I would have to agree. I want to thank everyone at Untraceable staff for putting on a great event. Sebastien, it's been great speaking with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the metaverses, my friend.
Same wise, thanks, Jason. It's been a pleasure, and see you soon in the metaverse. Cheers.
Awesome. Take care.